Being sick and finally having internet access, I'm getting the chance to catch up on politics. So again, since I've been hit with another free speech ban on Facebook, I'm going to post my observations here. I'll probably eventually share them to Facebook when I'm out of Facebook prison. I watched a video last night showing a leftist trying to prove that America is not the greatest country on the planet, and failing horribly. He simply kept mentioning some mythical happiness scale put out by the UN. Happiness is on you, not on where you live. Most miserable people are just miserable people. Hence, in the Declaration of Independence, it says, the pursuit of happiness. Liberals and many on the right forget that pursuit part. If I'm not happy, it must be someone else's fault. If you're not happy, chances are you're making some shitty life decisions, which I've done too, but the difference is, I'll admit it. They always point to the happiness index in Sweden. They don't tell you per capita, that's per 100,000 people, that they, the Swedes, have more people on antidepressants than the United States. There was a liberal complaining that conservatives are not tolerant, while he's at a conservative event, being allowed to ask questions, and getting hostile, saying conservatives are intolerant. He did admit there is a liberal bias in the media, but for some reason he was upset at the conservative speakers. I just don't get it. I've also stolen a catchphrase from a conservative speaker. Facts don't care about your feelings. I like that one. A conservative asked a good question. Why is he called a race traitor, a white supremacist pet, because he was black, by the left for wanting to be a police officer? That's actually a simple question to answer. Because they've been told to. See my video on the populist bomb. Oh my God, a conservative just said that parents should actually start parenting. That bastard. Now, I've heard some fools complaining about the bump stock ban. Just one question for these fools. Based on the Supreme Court decision, there can be regulations put on weapons that have no military use. What military use does a bump stock have? None. I never even used burst or automatic on my M16 and M4 while I was in the military. Learn how to shoot so you're not mowing down your neighbor while trying to defend your home. See my video titled, I Have a .308 Caliber Headache. I was watching a Ben Shapiro lecture on social justice warriors, and the leftists are losing their shit, yelling shame and calling him a white supremacist, who, by the way, happen to hate Jews, of which Ben Shapiro is. Just to show how stupid these social justice warriors are, and which side they really identify with, I'd like to read a quote. Because it seems inseparable from the social idea, and we do not believe that there could ever exist a state with lasting inner health if it is not built on internal social justice. And so we have joined forces with this knowledge. And I wonder who would say such a thing. Adolf Hitler in Why We Are Anti-Semites in August 15th, 1920 speech in Munich. Just look at their behavior. Does the term brown shirt mean anything to you? Another quote that seems to espouse their beliefs. Socialist, I define from the word social, meaning in the main, social equity. A socialist is one who serves the common good without giving up his individuality or personality or the product of his personal efficiency. Our adopted term socialist means nothing to do with the Marxian socialism. Marxism is anti-property. True socialism is not. Marxism places no value on the individual or individual effort of efficiency. True socialism values the individual and encourages him in individual efficiency, at the same time holding that his interest as an individual must be in consonance with those of the community. All great inventions, discoveries, achievements were first the product of an individual brain. It is charged against me that I am against property, that I am an atheist. Both charges are false. A speech given on December 28, 1938, quoted in the Speeches of Adolf Hitler, April 1922 to August 1939. You can find that one on page 93. Now, the left loses their minds when I point out these facts. To steal a phrase, facts don't care about your feelings. Now, another thing. People keep asking Ben Shapiro to run for office. After watching what the left has tried to do to Trump, who in their right mind would want to run for office? What would they come up with? Collusion with Shapiro and Israel? We know they try and paint him as a white supremacist, which they already tried to do. Now, I'm glad I've seen Ben Shapiro. I figured out a couple things when it comes to debating. First, the minute someone calls you a racist, misogynist, homophobe, or Islamophobe to try and win their argument, they're not worth debating. They don't have any facts or a real stance they can defend. They'll just keep yelling those labels, and you should just point and laugh. See my video on the populist bomb. You can call them idiots and just move on. On the internet, just find people who have the skills to debate, which there aren't many, and use the facts against their feelings. I was watching another leftist trying to give Obama credit for the current economy. I have the numbers, folks. Quit lying. Again, facts don't care about your feelings. The number and sorts of economic records set by Obama's economy kept mounting. The United States had a post-Depression era record high number of citizens living at or beneath the federally defined poverty line, a record high number on the federal welfare, food stamps, or SNAPS program, a record low workforce participation number, and 6.5 years into the Obama presidency, the economy had set a new statistical low. But the 109,631,000 living in households taking federal welfare benefits as of the end of 2012, according to the Census Bureau, equaled 35.4% of all 309,467,000 people living in the United States at that time. Welfare spending jumped 32% during the Obama's presidency. Income data from the Census Bureau reveal what a great job Barack Obama did for the middle class as president. During his entire tenure in the Oval Office, median household income declined by 7.3%. Obama decimated jobs in America. It was so bad that a record high number of 94,031,000 simply gave up and dropped out of the workforce, sure that they wouldn't be able to find a job in the age of Obama. Census figures showed more than 1/3 of Americans were receiving welfare benefits under Obama. If you knew nothing else about President Obama other than looking at the data, you might conclude that he was insensitive to blacks, given that they had done far worse economically under his administration than Hispanics or whites. What is striking is that the president and his advisors were clueless about which economic policies worked and which don't work. Despite his emphasis on the economy, he persisted in being the anti-Reagan with anti-growth policies. In one of his speeches in Illinois, the president came up with no new growth proposals, just more of what has not worked. I watched Candace Owens. She gives me hope. A black woman who's not only beautiful but smart at half my age. She mentioned Margaret Sanger. A quote from Margaret Sanger: "Black people should be exterminated like weeds." A liberal hero. Just something to think about when you call someone on the right a racist. I just heard Candace Owens perpetuate a lie. Planned Parenthood doesn't supply mammograms, nor do they Planned Parenthood. They stop Parenthood.